Apparently, I wasn't the only one freaked out by the Ring Doorbell thing. Let's talk about it next.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
It's lunchtime. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunch with the Clydesdale. Oh, a little premature there and didn't let my intro finish. We've already got Jody and Meredith and Cory in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Jody is here in sunny Florida. Wow. What's crazy is it's 50 degrees here today. I've got 15 inches of snow. It's 50 degrees. I took the dog out in short sleeves, and it was actually kind of nice. I am so conditioned to single digits now that 50 degrees feels like sunny Florida to me. So there you go. I'd probably be sweating my ass off in Florida right now and not knowing what to do with myself, or drinking my air down in Louisiana like Cory. Yeah. So what's going on, everybody? Mark Phillips is here. Threw his back out Saturday, but he's here. He throws his back out carrying this show in the comments. But we love him for that. So there you go. Jody's back to frigid Connecticut on Friday. Yeah, it's crazy. We get one day of 50s. Tomorrow it's back down in the 30s for like 2 days. And then we go back up to like mid 40s. So yeah, it's going to be a little up and down roller coaster thing for us for the next few days. But every day in the next like 10-day forecast, we get above freezing, which is key because we need to get rid of all of this snow. We just, like, my mom's coming to visit Thursday, and I don't even have a place in my driveway because my extra car is buried. I need it to be unburied so I can move it at least a little bit, and give my mom some space to get in my driveway. Probably tomorrow I'll be shoveling a little bit to make some extra room, but man, it's crazy. Mark Phillips wants a new back. His old one sucks. Hey, I'm with you, man. From 2016 to 2020, I had 12 back procedures. I found the right doctor. I got everything fixed, and I haven't had any bad back problems in 5 years, 6 years, whatever it's been. And knock on wood, that's not anything that holds me back going forward. Now that we've had the sinus surgery, we're getting the biopsy done in a week and a half. And, man, I'm hopefully get back at it, get all ripped like Cory, compete in the 60-plus division. There's it is. Goals everywhere. Goals everywhere. Let's go. Let's go. Lido, it's rained every single day since the beginning of the year in the UK, and we've seen the sun for about 3.5 seconds since December. That sucks. Hell yeah, make me rip like Cory too. Yeah, we all have goals, man. We all have goals. Meredith says, yep, if I think had one thing fixed on me, it would be my back. Yeah, it took forever, man. It was like I slept in a recliner for like 2 years because I could not lay down. It hurt so bad with my back. It was pathetic. And I was doing all this CrossFit. I lost like 200 plus pounds. I was doing all this stuff, and I go to lift a damn laundry basket, and that's what set it all off. And then it was just doctoring and nursing it and trying to get through the next day. And man, Cory says he's not that ripped. I've seen pictures, dude. I've seen you in person. You're way ripped to me, way more ripped than me. So yeah. Andrew Stin, I've hurt my back standing up from the toilet. Yeah. The last time my back hurt, Sten, was judging MFC, and I literally had to go to the break room and lay on the cement floor with my feet elevated on Sunday. And that's the year we had like no breaks. And my back just said, I'm done on Sunday, completely done. And that was like the last time it's hurt. And that was what, like 21, 22, somewhere in there. Ortega says he'll see Cory this weekend at Fittest of the Coast. And he'll check out how ripped he is. Take a picture, Ortega. We need proof. Sten says he remembers that. Oh, it was so bad. Worst judging experience of my life. That was my last judging experience too. Ortega, I get these spasms like twice a year when I wake up and it locks up and I can't move for like 2 hours. It's the worst. Yeah, when it was bad, Ortega, I used to have a stem machine on me just to go to work. Like I carried the remote in my pocket and I would crank it up while I'm sitting at my desk at work just to get through the day. Back before I got sent home and got to work from home. It was horrible. David Reed, I ruptured a disc while out on a run 5 miles from home. Man, we are all old. We are all old. Mark Phillips, all these backstories make me feel better and worse at the same time. Yeah, never was I 5 miles from home with a ruptured disc. That just seems like pure hell. Like I just lay in a ditch at that point. So anyway, what do I want to talk about today? Let's talk about the WFP. So yesterday, Will was on with the Rich Froning podcast, and they asked him how many people have signed, how many people have not signed. And he said like 70% have signed. And I thought I remembered like the Barbell Spin saying only 2 of the top 10 have signed. And then I remembered more carefully that Spin said 2 of the top 10 games athletes had signed. So actually, like it may be closer to 70 than I gave it credit for. But in the moment, I was like, man, Will is not telling the truth. Because if only 2 of the top 10 have signed, you're already down to 75%. And we're not even talking about the women yet. But when I look at the leaderboard, actually, like a lot of them have signed in their top 10. So if we look, like we know Sprague is signed, we know Pepper hasn't, Gerard hasn't, Medeiros hasn't. Roman did sign, Guy signed, Tudor signed, Chandler, Yona, and Anola Kai signed. So really only 3 in the top 10 didn't sign of their leaderboard, and it's Dallin, Ricky, and Justin. And then Jeff Adler said he did not sign. So that's 4 of the top 20. They've invited 3 of the next 10. So they're 1 shy at this point if everybody else signed. But they haven't announced anything on the women's side. On the women's side of the top 10, the only one we know has signed is Emma Tall, and the only one we know hasn't signed is Lucy Campbell. We know Lucy Campbell said no, and we know Emma Tall said yes. The other 8, we have no idea on the women's side if they have signed or not. And why are they waiting? Why are they waiting? It makes no sense. Like, are they trying to hide something? Because once you get to Andrea Solberg, we know she signed. Lydia Fish did, Sydney did, Emily did. And then we know Oda did. And that's all we know. So there's a lot of gaps here. We don't know Ella. We don't know Jennifer. We don't know Mano. We don't know Hannah. And we don't know Danny Spiegel. And then we only know one has in the top 10. So it's crazy that they haven't released more information about that. Grace's 1540 says maybe people are trying to negotiate. The new rule is that you don't get to negotiate anymore. That where you finish is what salary you make now. So first place got $100,000 contract. So James Sprague won the tour last year, means he gets $100,000 contract going into this year. It's not negotiated anymore. You get what you earned from the previous season. Now, with all the people withdrawing, you can move up, and maybe your number is different than you thought it would be. Maybe you finished 4th, but you moved up to 2nd. So now you're making an $80,000 contract instead of a $60,000, but you cannot negotiate. It's where you finished. Cory says, Mano Anganese is my favorite element on the periodic table. Isn't that wild? She has a crazy name. She's a fun person to talk to. Really fun. Okay. John George, I finished 10th, but are now the number 2. Do I get number 2 money or 10 money? You get the 2 money, John. And and it happens because we know, like Nick Matthew, Colin Bosshard, and one other person that was outside the top 20 have been invited. So they're not going to come without money. Oh, Luka Jukic. So those 3 were invited. There was no money for 21st, 22nd, or 23rd. There now is. So, Grace says the other thing is it was said publicly that their window has closed. So they know who is signed and who hasn't. They had a window to sign their contract or not. And that has ended for the initial 40 athletes who earned a pro card. Now we're just waiting to see who it is because they haven't announced it. Now they've made 2 announcements with a media release, and it listed all the people that we know for sure. But there's a good chunk we have no idea whether they are or not. Seema says, is WFP like the minor leagues? I think it's become the developmental league for sure. And I think that's the right size for it. And I was thinking about this last night and this morning. You know, when the USFL first came into the football in the early 80s, they tried to compete directly with the NFL and they got thumped. Then they moved to a different part of the year, a different season, and they actually started to make money and move in a direction that was successful. And with that, they actually started gaining talent. They were able to sign people away from the NFL to their league. Then they tried to sue the NFL, and they put so much money in that basket, and they actually won, but the money awarded to them was so nominal. It was like $3, or it was ridiculous. Even though they won the verdict, it bankrupted them. So I think that it's very similar to what's happening with WFP. WFP tried to go head to head with the CrossFit Games season. After 1 year, I think the athletes decided they can't do both, and many of them decided that it was more conducive to do the CrossFit Games season than to do the WFP season. So now the people that are doing WFP are those people that don't realistically have a shot at winning the CrossFit Games, because winning the CrossFit Games is more money than you can make at either one of the leagues, seasons, whatever. If you're not legit, if you don't have a legit shot at winning, this is a great place to develop your skills. And where the WFP needs to capitalize on this is to create a brand loyalty, treat these athletes so well, and give them this guaranteed money to work on their skills, to get better, to move up the ranks as a top-end athlete, and then treat them so well that they don't want to leave you, that they want to keep playing in your sport. That's the way they have to move going forward. Instead of coming in and owning everything and thinking you can take over everything, now you have to develop this league. Now you're going to take, and we're not talking bad athletes, we're just talking about not top 10 athletes. And again, we don't know what's happening on the women's side. We still have to wait for that. But on the men's side, you have a couple top 10 athletes, and then you have a lot of those people that finished 11 through 30 at the CrossFit Games. Can you develop them? Can you develop brand loyalty? Can you make it worth their while to stick around with you? That's their only shot now. And maybe through the development of what they've done, it's right-sized them to a place where they can succeed more. And I think that is what's happening. And I hope that they look in the mirror and they look at this and say, this is our strategy going forward. We're not going to try to take over the world. We're going to build our brand and try to advance forward with what we have. David Reed says WFP is D2 to the CrossFit Games D1. I don't think it's that far of a jump, though, David. I think it is. The CrossFit Games are the Big Ten, and WFP is the ACC. Because WFP is still playing with James Sprague, Roman Krenikoff. You've got Nick Matthew and Nate Ackerman and BKG, Ty Jenkins, Pat Vellner, Yella Hosta, Colton Mertens, Jack Farlow, Chandler Smith, Yonakoski. Those are still high-end athletes. They just are none of the people you're going to roll off the tip of your tongue and say they have a shot at winning the CrossFit Games. But they're going to be competitive, and on any given event or any given Sunday or any given whatever you want to call it, could win an event. And Roman and James gives it some legitimacy. Now, again, we have no idea what it's going to be like on the women's side because they have not announced all of those moves yet. I think you're making my point. When D1 athletes compete against D2, they win. Yeah, but here's what I just think you made the leap between the two. D1 to D2 is too big of a gap. It's not that big of a gap. It is like a powerhouse Big Ten conference or SEC versus the ACC. It's not that Pitt can't beat Penn State or can't beat Ohio State. It's just Ohio State's going to be favored. Like Colton Mertens could win any weekend if the programming is right. But James Sprague is going to be favored over Colton Mertens in almost all situations. It doesn't mean Colton can't win, and Colton will win aspects of that. He just may not win that entire weekend. So the gap is not like Cory and I, Cory being Big Ten and me being JMU. Exactly. And someone like Colton signing is actually like a big coup for the WFP. The man has a ton of followers. He is great on screen. He is going to win events, and he is so popular, and he's going to do it with a big crowd. And it's people like that can take advantage of this money, this opportunity to advance their career. I think it's just the WFP being kind of smacked in the face to say, this is where you should have been all along. Trying to take on the games was a big mistake. No matter how much money you have, the games has prestige, it has time-honored tradition, it has all of those things that you can't buy. And they tried to buy their way in. And Cory, you are not the Little Sisters of the Blind. You are not. So I know I bash on the WFP a lot. I criticize. I don't hate them. I want them to succeed. I want them to succeed. I want these athletes to have some opportunity they never had before. I've always been a champion for that next tier of athletes that don't get all the sponsorship dollars that the top end athletes do, and to actually make some money, develop themselves, develop their career, and then maybe WFP can actually create some brand loyalty to them over CrossFit. But they're going to have to work to do that. At AI, but telling WFP investors you're going to be second will cut off the bank funds quickly. I think the dynamic of the WFP funds and who's supplying them is different than a typical business. It's not generally your parents funding your business venture. It is usually like investors who are trying to make their money back. Here, it's a parents trying to help their kids be successful. And maybe, just maybe, being successful is taking a step back before you take 2 steps forward. They still got James Sprague to sign. They still got Roman Krennikov to sign. They got Colton Mertens. They got Chandler Smith. They've got people that are popular in the sport to sign. That's why I'm saying the gap isn't as big as D1 to D2. But the gap is much smaller than that. But they're going to have to work if they want to compete. They're just going to have to work. And in the water is wet category, Kenneth DeLapp says Colton is good enough for me to watch. Yeah, we know Kenneth. Nobody has a bigger supporter. Nobody is a bigger supporter of an athlete than you are of Colton. Everybody in the world should find someone who loves them as much as Kenneth loves Colton. It would make us all a big, happy, loving family. So the other thing, I have to have to a 1:00 meeting today, so I'm going to keep this a little bit shorter today. Cory sent me water actually isn't wet. It just makes other things wet. There's always that one person, always that one person. So the Ring doorbell camera we talked about yesterday, Cory sent me a post. Apparently, I am not the only one freaking out about this. There are several people freaking out about this technology and the AI cluster of Ring doorbell cameras able to find your lost dog. Ring came out and said, just like Vicky did yesterday, that it is an exclusively you have to opt in to get this thing. In addition, it is only to be used on animals. Now, if it can find an animal using AI, how far of a stretch are we until that becomes a human? I am very, very reluctant to think this is a good thing. Again, yesterday I said this is very person of interest. The TV show Person of Interest for me. It's like the beginning of that Big Brother, somebody watching and collecting that data to know everybody's every single move. I am just not a fan of this at all. Ed AI, I got rid of Ring and Blink a long time ago. IT nerd here. Local storage only. Yeah. I have a Blink, and I'm really seriously considering disconnecting it. But it's not my doorbell camera that's going to see me. It's going to be my neighbor's Ring or Blink doorbell camera that sees me. And that's what sucks. That's what sucks. They can already find people, cars using traffic cams and facial ID. This is just using people's home systems to do the same. It just goes like when you're on a public highway, I get it. You're out there and you're exposed. When I'm mowing my lawn, I don't want people seeing me. I don't know. It just is. It feels way more voyeuristic than driving down a public highway to being filmed in your front yard. It's such a mess. Clock says, I heard the British also don't think the sky is blue. They swear it's gray. Yeah, if you missed the beginning of the show, Lido already told us that the sky is gray. They've only seen the sun for 3.5 seconds this calendar year. Before I forget, Thirdzy has launched its self-care 30 promotion for Valentine's Day. And that means more savings for you. If you use the code Jazzy at checkout or go to thirdzy.com/Jazzy, you can get 30% off your order of $85 or more. Just go to thirdzy.com/Jazzy to get that 30% off. And it's important that you take care of yourself so you can take care of others this Valentine's Day. Make sure you get the sleep and the rest you require and the recovery that you need so that you can be there for your partner this Valentine's Day. So go to thirdzy.com/Jazzy. Ed AI says it's also great in Seattle. What is sun? Yeah. Cory says it's a lovely day in South Louisiana. Sunny and 74. Yeah, I'll take my 50 degrees, man. It's been a long time. So did you guys see that the CrossFit L4, the relaunch, the new video version of the L4 sold out in like 15 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes. I saw comments that like, nobody needs this. It's such a select group. CrossFit isn't growing, so they shouldn't be worried about these niche things. If you put out something and it sells out in 15 or 20 minutes, probably should do it. Probably should do it. Probably means there was a demand for that thing. If you're selling it out in 15 or 20 minutes, people really wanted it. They already have a wait list available, so if people cancel, you can grab a spot if you didn't get in on the initial sale. But they only have the capacity to do so many at a time. And then I'm sure they'll reopen for some other things. Craig Passley says that is great news. It is. Anytime you have a product that you can put out to the public and sell in 15 to 20 minutes and not have any more to sell, that's a good thing. I don't care what business you're in. That's a good thing. Demand is greater than the inventory that you have. And that's awesome. Last thing I'm going to share with you is, this is from Mike Halpin's Instagram account. This was as of yesterday. We are currently sitting at 97,546 people signed up for the open. We're almost to that 100,000 registrations. And this was as of yesterday. I don't know where we are today, but that is an increase of 38.4% over last year. Going into this year's open, so many people predicted that it would actually be lower than last year. I am happy to say it is not lower than last year. It is actually growing and doing well. Now, Halpin also points out on his next slide that 22, 23, and 24 had more than 100,000 by this point. Now, that's great that happened, but something happened in 24 that created a backslide on that, and we all know it. So I don't think it needs to be pointed out. We all know we're fighting against 2025 and growing off of that. 24 happened. We had a death in the family, and now we're trying to move forward. Yesterday, we saw a huge dip last year we saw a huge dip because people were affected by that death. Now it's trying to rebuild, get through the grieving process, and keep going forward. So that's what we should be judging on, not pre the death in the family. So I'm super proud of what CrossFit has put out from a media marketing sense to get the interest out there. I think a lot of the third-party media have chipped in to give more people the news that it's out there, sharing their stories, doing their thing. And I think that has been a tremendous effort throughout the space. So super pumped, great numbers. Hopefully we're already over 100,000 signups, but hopefully we'll find out. I wish I knew a way where I could pull those numbers and have them up to date, but I'll keep watching for more updates to see where we are and keep you guys updated along the way. Well, today's been fun. Sorry it's a little bit shorter show, but I have to get off. I have a meeting at 1 o'clock, 10 minutes from now. So I have to go up and get signed into that. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I got to get back to work. You knuckleheads get back to work too. And we'll see everybody next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. With that, have a great day. We'll see everybody tomorrow on lunch. Oh, tonight, Sunday Night CrossFit on a Tuesday night. Tonight, we'll be live tonight. Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Bye, guys.